Okay, so hope everybody's having an awesome day. If you are tuning in, we are very excited to be on here tonight, sharing things that we love as far as healthy lunches go. We're just waiting for confirmation we are live. So until I get the thumbs up, hopefully somebody will send it to me soon. I would love to know if you are watching, and if you're not, I'm talking to myself. But we had a little bit of a survey the other day in a couple of our groups, and we asked, where would you rate yourself? A lunchbox legend or send help? And so if you're watching right now, depending where you're watching, we won't be able to see your comments because we are streaming into Facebook, but we will go back and check and we will be talking to people. So we'd love to know, where do you rate yourself as far as your lunchbox, not your lunchbox, your lunch and your kids' lunchbox? Like, as far as lunches go, are you a legend? Are you nailing it every single day? Or do you need some help? Do you need some inspiration? And we ask with no judgment. It's more, so we can serve you moving forward in this challenge. Hopefully somebody is writing me right now, sorry. And the other thing that we would really love to know is as far as how you store your lunches. So with your kids, with yourself, are you using, like, bento boxes are all the rage they seem these days. I have them right now. Sometimes I love them. Sometimes I don't love them. But there's other things that you can be using to take care of your lunches. So we'd love to know in the comments of wherever you're watching this. We'd love to have your interaction so we can go back and make what's about to happen really geared towards you. So in that case, I think that I'm on. We'll just go with it.
We'll go with it.
We'll go with it until somebody rings me. So my name is Anna, and I am very excited to be here tonight. I am a teacher, I am a certified nutrition coach, and I'm a mom of 2 beautiful girls. And so nutrition is just, like, bottom line, one of my highest values, because I see from a teacher's point of view why it's so important, and from a parent's point of view, and from my own point of view, why we need to fuel ourselves with great food. So very excited to be here tonight, and I am here with the lovely Carrie.
Hi everyone, welcome. I'm really excited to be on here. As Anna said, my name is Carrie Corp, and like Anna, I'm also a qualified health coach. I'm also a mama. Hopefully I'm qualified at that too. And I'm really passionate, like Anna is, and like all of us at Tribal Wellness, about inspiring healthy living around the world. And really, it's, as Anna said, it's one of my highest values, is to nourish our bodies, mind and soul as well, but food first. And my wish, and I'm sure Anna's wish tonight, is that while you're watching this presentation, is that you just get a little bit more inspired to implement something for your lunches, whether it's your kids' lunchbox or whether it's your work lunch or whatever it is, just to implement a little upgrade, whether it's a little bit or whether it's a lot. So yeah, so we're excited.
Yeah, we can't wait. So we do have a slide, that a PowerPoint that we're going to use. So you may not be able to see us entirely, but we'll pop in and out intermittently. But so I'm just going to share now our screen so we can get going. Excuse me. Hold on. Okay, here we go. So we are all about tonight becoming a healthy lunch legend. That's our mission for us all today and tonight. Why isn't that working? Good. And our intention for this webinar is really to give you, like Carrie said, some tools, some inspiration, and to get you thinking about how you can better prepare for the week ahead and how you can really be nourishing yourself every single day. So we're going to look at a really practical approach, a methodology that we use in Tribal Wellness about how to plate up. So how should your plate look? How can you be fueling yourself for maximum vitality and health throughout the day? So what does a balanced approach look like? And so hopefully you can see, sorry, we'll just put us there. So with this balanced approach, we're talking about this how to plate up. And it's really very simple, and that's why we wanted to share it with you as part of what we do in lunches, because it applies for all meals, all food of the day. But I would just challenge you to really think about how it applies to what you're already eating, and what you're doing really great, and little things that maybe you could change to know that you're actually fueling the systems of your body better. So how to plate up is really simple. It focuses on getting in the micronutrients that we need, that are so important to young and old. We need them for our energy, and we need them just as immune booster. All the research says people need more plants in their diet. Those phytonutrients are just so key to battling so many illnesses now. So as far as how to plate up goes, we look at how we actually incorporate 60% of a meal as plant-based goodness. So our really good, our fruits, our veggies, and our complex carbohydrates are our plant-based carbohydrates. So we're looking to, as a visual, really focus on about 60% of our meals being made up of those goodness bits. And then 30% being made up of good quality proteins. So whether, we're very flexible here, I am a flexitarian. I like to approach diet to suit everybody, what suits me doesn't suit you. So just being conscious about what is a good protein for you. Maybe it's a plant-based protein, maybe it's a lean animal protein. But I think in years gone past, we've been so focused on the protein that our meals have been protein heavy. And in actual fact, although we really need them, it's amazing for our gut health. It works with the plants to get our gut all going perfectly. And it helps, us be strong, but we don't need quite so much of it. So thinking about that 30% being a good quality protein, and then this is the one that really kind of throws me and makes me think every single time, is getting in quality fats, so our essential fatty acids. So making sure that when we're eating, we've considered how we get good fats into our diet. So why we need good fats is they fuel our nervous system. They keep our brain functioning really well. They're great for our skin and our vitality, but often they're the first thing left off because we've all been scared of fats. So we're going to talk about just good fats. So things like good nuts, avocado is an amazing fat, flax meal, olive oil, all these things that perhaps we can be adding again. But in the plate up methodology, 10% of 10% of the food that we eat on a plate should be a good fat. So I just want you to be thinking about that. 60% plants and plant carbohydrates, 30% good quality proteins, and 10% good quality fats, just to get a really balanced approach. And that will service 3 of our major systems. So that's going to service your immune system with your plants. It's going to service your digestive system with your protein mixed with your plants, and it's going to service that nervous system with the good fats. So 3 huge systems that we really need to be taking care of for sure.
Yeah, so what I do in my house, I have some basic rules and guidelines that apply to my daughter's lunchbox and my husband's lunchbox. These are just guidelines. You'll come up with your own rules or guidelines, and I'm sure you already have some in place. But what I do is I have that basic rule of whatever's in your lunch needs to be real whole foods and nothing that's overly processed. And I say that because I think we can't be perfect all the time. There are times where I do take shortcuts, but 95% of the time it has to be about whole foods. I always say to my daughter, and this is something that I still apply to myself, I still have, even though I work from home, I always have lunch at home, but once a week I allow myself to go and get some sushi or something like that. So I figure it's only fair that she can have a lunch order once a week or a treat. But that above rule still needs to apply. It still needs to be real food. And of course, I'm not there at the canteen watching over her. So there's an element of trust. And there is the occasional wrapper that comes home in the pocket I find in the washing, but it's all good. The other thing that I do And this applies also to my husband as well. If you bring your lunch home, if you haven't eaten it that day, that you eat that for afternoon tea when you get home. And I think this is something that's really important on two levels, is it's teaching, you know, and reminding us as adults and teaching our children that we don't have food wastage, you know, so we really need to value that. But it also allows them to understand that they need to be grateful for what has been provided. That, you know, as a mother, and I know there's lots of fathers in that are out there preparing lunches. And I spoke to a lady this morning whose 12, 13-year-old son makes his own lunch, which is fantastic. But it's just knowing that someone has lovingly prepared that food for you. So don't disregard it, and to be grateful for it. The other thing I do, and this is really more around children, is letting them have some choices as well, giving them a little bit of power in those choices, as long as those above rules of eating real food is applied. So, you know, as I said, we can't always be perfect, but just to keep trying to implement some basic rules about real food and real nourishment as well. So,
and I love that, Carrie. Sorry, just because we've been talking a lot about this,
yeah.
obviously, setting this up. And I have implemented that strategy of, you know, telling my daughter that, you know, I love you and I know things get busy, but if you're not eating all this good food I'm preparing, then that is your afternoon snack, because we need, you know, respect the food, not waste it, all, having those conversations. And today she came home with the biggest smile on her face saying, guess what, Mama? I ate all my food, like I rocked it. And she was really proud. And she's like, you
That's
know, and it was
awesome.
really great. So I think
Yeah.
it's nice to have those conversations as well with kids.
Absolutely. Yep. And, you know, like I said, my husband, the same rules apply. So he needs to appreciate that, you know, even though we make it together. But anyway, so a few practical tips that I would like to encourage people, just from a time effective and an economical point of view, is make things in bulk. So if you are preparing things, you know, for lunch, you know, I think Anna, you mentioned this morning, you know, some people who make sandwiches and freeze them. So, you know, they get the loaf of bread or whatever it is on a Sunday, they make up all their sandwiches, put it in the freezer so they can grab and go. Because often in the morning, we don't have a lot of time. So whatever you can do to make it convenient, then that's great, which leads into making your freezer your friend. I mean, you know, I think that when you can use your freezer for that, then when you make bulk food, it's such an easy way to do it, and it sets you up for great success. Something that I really encourage in my family is that we all get involved in that process. And I did that from a very young age with my daughter in particular, because I think we shouldn't underestimate at what age kids can help. You know, we don't necessarily have to get them cutting up things at 2 or 3, but they can grab fruit out of a bowl, or they can help put things in containers. So, you know, as I mentioned, I spoke to a mum this morning who's, you know, she's out the door early for work. So her son makes his lunch. And that's amazing. You know, he's been given that skill. And I think we shouldn't underestimate that that is a life skill that we can teach them as well. And again, I think it just goes back, you know, perhaps you're not a family, perhaps, you know, you don't have children or a partner and you're living in a shared household. I think, you know, get everyone involved, because
Mm.
it's only going to encourage you all to set up your week really well. And at the end of the day, we need to be nourished. We know how we feel good when we've had good food. You know, if we're just eating takeaway all the time, we feel sluggish, we don't perform as well at work. So, you know, really doing that. Something I also do is I meal prep, I meal plan. And when I do that, I actually think about that dinner I'm cooking, how can that be turned into lunch the next day? So for example, tonight I did a big roast. So I've, you know, cut up a little bit of chicken that's left over. That will go towards lunches, either in the lunchbox or perhaps for a salad tomorrow night. For the extra roast vegetables, I'll turn that into a frittata, which we'll talk about in a moment. So it's always cooking more than I need, so then I can turn that into something else. And like last night, I made up a salad which has gone into wraps today. So, you know, being time effective is going to set you up for great success. And as we've got here, preparation. If you've got time, you know, some people might have an hour on a Sunday. Maybe you're only going to have 10 or 15 minutes, but think about what you can do, whether it's just cutting up some fruit and some vegetable sticks, or cutting up a salad that you can just pop in a container for the week. Think about what you can do with the time that you have to really set you up for the greatest success that you can.
Yeah, I love that. And I think we're going to talk in this challenge that we are going to talk more about at the end of this, you know, how we can be prepared for the week ahead, and how that will impact your lunches and your wallet and your wastage. I think these are all things that we need to be considering at this day and age. So, so that's very exciting. Oh, it's gone very big. What's going on here? Sorry about that. Let's just, not sure. So we're going to talk about just a few ideas that you can take away from tonight and start to implement and start to see how it doesn't have to be so hard. So again, thinking about that, how to plate up, you know, when you're looking at a lunchbox, or when you're looking at the food that you're taking, a salad, you know, whatever it might be, is it, you know, the greater proportion, 60% plants, you know, has it been made up of plants, fruits and veggies and different plants? Is there a really good quality protein? So for us that have kids at school, often nuts are not applicable, which really is hard because it kind of ticks off 2 boxes there. But we do have some amazing things. So I'm just going to show you. So 2 of my go-tos when nuts are out of the question are pepitas and sunflower seeds. So I'm getting low because I do put them in lunches, but awesome, 0 packaging, which is good. You know, you can get them bulk, and you can just put them in as part of the snack. They're crunchy. Kids love to just go. It's kind of a fun food. So that's one idea. If you can have nuts, I would always, I mean, our favorites are walnuts, so good for your brain health, and tamari almonds. If you haven't had those, absolutely incredible and delicious, and super hot, great nutrients in that. So, you know, it doesn't have to be hard when you're prepping. Like, it can be really easy things that you can literally just pop into a container and be ready to go. And I guess that's part of what we want to instill in this challenge is things don't have to be so processed. You know, in what we do at Tribal Wellness, we are about those simple upgrades, and upgrades are eating foods closer to the sun, eating real foods. So this is some examples of, and obviously think lots of color. So I have here, this is just a, sorry, bad, maybe I can tip you down, that's good. A broad assortment of different fruits and veggies, but anything that you can just pop in, make it exciting. I mean, look at that plate, it's beautiful. My banana, which is the yellow part, sitting over here, but it's a rainbow, like as if you wouldn't want to dive into that, and just have a little, you know, little picks at all of that. So just thinking about how you can make it interesting and delicious for yourself or those that you're making food for. Definitely don't forget chickpeas, which, oh, I don't have them, but dried chickpeas are really amazing and crunchy. You can put them in the oven and, you know, put different spices on them. My kids love them, but again, they're safe for schools, which is amazing. Good proteins, good fats. So just some ideas about, you know, when you're looking at a snack, and again, when we think about how to plate up, we definitely want to think about the broad lunch that we're having. So, you know, every snack, don't worry, it doesn't all have to fit, but I think, you know, in the lunchtime vicinity, think how all portions are covered, if you will.
And I think when we look at healthy treats, we all love a treat, you know, and it's not about deprivation, but it's about looking at ways that we can make that treat just not filled with sugar and not about empty calories as well. I talked to my daughter about air food, you know, that you need something that's going to fill you up. So if you're going to have a rice cracker, don't just have a rice cracker, have something on it that's going to really, you know, satiate you, even though I don't use that word with her, but
good word.
Yeah, it is a great word. But it's also just about understanding that, you know, you need to have good energy. And I will often speak to children about things like energy and strength and being able to kick the ball, things like that, rather than using the word healthy. But you can think of things, and we have some incredible, wonderful recipes in our tribal wellness program. And we've got things like sweet potato brownies, and I think we've got another one with black beans in it, which is fantastic.
It's amazing. Look at,
Yeah.
I'll show you. I made this last night.
Yeah.
It's almost gone. They love
I
it.
can reach it.
Basically just sweet potato. Trust us.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You're going to get this recipe too, so don't worry.
Absolutely. Bliss balls. I think bliss balls are such a great way to really pack in some great nutrients. And, you know, if you put some dates or some fruit or something in there, you're getting that sweetness without, you know, but with the fiber as well. So it's really helping more even blood sugars. But, you know, sometimes for a time effective tip is I make bliss balls in a tray. And I just, rather than rolling it, I just blitz it all up, pop it into a tray, press it, and then cut it into squares. So making it really simple in that way. You know, you can make your own muesli bars. We've got some great recipes with that. Making different muffins as well. A great muffin recipe I'm going to share in our challenge is, I call it my 5-minute blender muffin, where you just pop everything into the blender. It's got oats, it's got beautiful, I use coconut yogurt, you know, lots and lots of banana, things like that, and then add in lots of different flavors. And like, it literally takes you 5 minutes to make. You know, obviously it's got to cook in the oven, but you can go off and do other things. Using banana flour as well, which is another great flour that you can use, and you can get that at any supermarket in the health food aisle. Banana flour is great, great fiber and resistant starch, which is really good for gut health. It's feeding your good bacteria, but you know, it's also got that great fiber, so it really helps your bowels and everything as well. You've got healthy banana bread, and we've got a beautiful recipe there for a healthy pancake hack. Like I said with the bliss balls, this is actually making up a pancake mixture with the recipe that we've got here. So it's got beautiful organic eggs, oats. If you can't have oats, you can use quinoa flakes. If you can't have nut milk, you can swap it with another plant-based milk. And using beautiful vanilla protein powder as well. And blitzing it all up, like it literally takes 2 minutes to make, popping it in a tray, putting it in the oven. So you're not standing there making little, you know, flipping little pancakes, because you haven't got time for that. So do that, have it with some beautiful fruit. I think in this picture there's some raspberries. I put in some beautiful peaches because we've got gorgeous stone fruit at the moment. And then you can just cut it into little squares, and that can go into the lunchbox. This is another great one for making for breakfast as well. So, you know, like it's kind of a whatever, you know, lay home for dinner, and you can make this too.
Imagine you pancakes for dinner.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so we're not going to go through, there's so many ideas and so many hacks that we're going to give you in this challenge, just about what you could be doing with you know, the main event. Or so often we just turn to sandwiches because that's what we do, and not always, and I'm included, not always are they, you know, the best, most healthy sandwiches. I would maybe suggest that you know, if we're doing sandwiches, make sure you're using a really good quality bread, something with maybe spreaded grains or things like that. Just you know, not our white Wonder Bread, no judgments, but maybe let's just try, like with our challenge, let's try to upgrade what we're doing. So that's amazing. But we're also going to look at just a couple of ideas with you right now. So one being a quiche or frittata. And there is going to be vegan options because I know a lot of people get frustrated because the frittata is kind of the go-to, or like the egg muffins are the go-to for people with healthy lunches. And then people who don't eat eggs are like, oh, Pat, I'm left out. So we're going to give you an option. Definitely doesn't taste like eggs, but it is a healthy option. But so with things like quiche and frittata, and the vegan option is the same, you know, like Carrie said, think about what you're making could actually be in a frittata. So if you're roasting off veggies like Carrie did tonight, and you roast off some extra ones and have bulk ones, well, you can put those into the muffin containers, or if you make a big one, you know, whatever it is, have it all ready. and pour your frittata mix over top, pour your eggs over top. You know, you can chop up some greens and just have it in there. We learned there was also an awesome meal prepping webinar the other night, and just about parsley and how high in iron it is. So just sneaking those things in to upgrade the nutrients in what we're having, which is really exciting. So, and then just a little hack there, you know, if you've got fussy eaters that are like, oh, I hate veggies, because I know those kids exist, we're going to swap them around. But think about, you know, how you can maybe peel off the skin of a zucchini or blitz up some broccoli, or not broccoli because you'll see it, cauliflower, but blitz it up really fine and add that. So again, we're adding those amazing plant goodness that so many people need, but in a way that is, you know, hopefully they're going to really enjoy it as well. And you can also, so one of the hacks that we've also talked about is, you know, using, if you're making some pasta or macaroni, so with pasta, and we'll give you this hack as well, there's awesome new pasta that's gluten-free, they're made of pulses, they're, you know, high in fiber, but you can also be using these in things like this. So making little patty pans, patty pies with leftovers. So we're going to talk more about that, but I think just get that in, start thinking about in your head, how is what I'm doing right now, could I be adding that to something else moving forward?
Yeah. So something that's always been a secret weapon of mine that I share with anybody who wants it, and I'm going to be sharing this. I'm going to be sharing this recipe in the 10-day challenge. So if you want this, you need to join the challenge. But and I've even got a little container here of it, which I've taken out of the freezer. But I basically make up a tray of beautiful vegetables, and I put in like minimum 4 up to 6 or 7 different kinds of vegetables, slowly roast it, and then, you know, there's a few other things that I add into it, because if I gave it away tonight, it wouldn't be a secret. But and then that way, you know, making it in bulk, as I've said, putting it in the freezer, and then turning it into different lunchbox meals, whether it's for the grown-up or the child, doesn't really matter. I think these are all really great options. You know, I often do get some beautiful organic whole grain corn chips, and, you know, make up a bit of guacamole and put a bit of tomato sauce in little containers, and they've got little, you know, nachos to take. You know, kids love nachos. Getting some small little pita breads and making into mini pizzas. And like in the picture here is actually getting a little bit of cheese if you can tolerate dairy, and some spinach, and sandwich pressing that and cutting it into little triangles and having a little dipping sauce so they can do that. Another thing I often do is get little toothpicks, and we'll have like little veggie balls, or like if I make meatballs, I will always put lots of veggies in it as well, or falafels. And then again, like just putting on that toothpick, you can put in a little bit of cucumber, some I don't know, some little bocconcini balls or some olives or something like that to really build up on those plants, and then they can dip that in the sauce. And, you know, I think even big kids love to do that.
Love a dip.
Yeah, and look, there's lots of ways that you can use that sauce. Another thing that I do with my family, and look, you know, we're talking about using pastry here, and it's probably not the best, healthiest option. But I think when you're putting some really great sources of homemade food in these, and trying to source a good quality pastry as well, there are some good ones out there, and just depending on where you live and what access you have. But there's one I use, I think it's called Cream or Creamer or something, that you can get that's full of whole food products, which is great. But I'll use things like bolognese or a curry, if you make up a vegetable curry, or a stew or casserole or something like that. Again, I always make a double batch, you know, perhaps in the slow cooker. And then, you know, draining off some of that liquid, because I think you don't want them to be soggy, and just cutting your pastry into little squares, and just putting a little bit of that, you know, whether it's a veggie curry with lentils or a bolognese that's really boosted up with lots of veggies. I think these kind of things, we can really boost it up. Even pureeing up vegetables if you've got those real fussy kids. or using some of the secret tomato sauce. And then just popping that in the oven. And you can do that, you know, like I often say, do it while you're cleaning up, you know, get the family involved, or my family, we all have to pitch in. So while the dishes are being tidied up, I'll be prepping something like this. And the food is mainly cooked. You've only just got to put it in the oven for 10 minutes to brown off the pastry. And then you've got some beautiful little pastries to take to school or in the lunchbox for work. And I think, you know, Anna, we spoke about this morning, is that particularly with children, you know, they've got a lot of playing to do, you know, lunchtime,
Very
they
important.
need to burn up energy. So when they can have something that's easy and quick to eat that they can hold in their hand, I think, you know, often they come home with things, but if you can give them something like this, they will eat it. And you just know that they're going to get some nourishment into them, which I think is so important.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And so we also want you to think about, like Carrie said, and we'll continue to say that, but you know, how we use our leftovers, especially as adults. I know in my house, we are getting better, but you know, being really focused on making sure you take the right food. If you don't have the capability to heat things up, and like for our kids and older kids, they definitely probably don't have a capability to heat things up at school, but using a good quality flask where they can actually heat it up in the morning, you can heat it all beautiful on the stove, add it in. And there's another way to have a hearty meal, but also, you know, be making sure that we're using what we have. Some other ideas, which I love, is a smoothie, like actually making a smoothie up in the morning and putting it in. There's amazing, like stainless, I think they're stainless, drink bottles these days that keep things, you know, nice and cold. So blitzing it all up, having it ready. So there's a beautiful smoothie for you to have at, you know, morning tea or recess if it's like a child, but you can really jam pack it with some incredible, incredible nutrients. And then finally,
I was just going to add in there, just making sure that you put that lid on really tight.
Put the lid on tight until, oh yeah, I know. There's, anyways, we can talk more to that. And then of course, you know, pinwheels. So just thinking about how we can change what we've done, upgrade what we've done to jam pack a few more veggies, a few more quality proteins, and maybe start minimizing, you know, just the processed starches that we use in the processed carbohydrates that we use. So I do a couple of different wraps that I've been using of late. There's whether you can get these or not, but be free. There's a few different options, but these are sweet potato wraps. So they're free of wheat, they're free of gluten, and have, you know, some amazing fiber and things like that. There's also, you know, dark rye, if gluten isn't an issue, but again, just upgrading to something that has better nutrient content that's going to actually fill you up, and it's not just going to be sort of empty calories. I love what Carrie says about air food. I think about air food. Are you actually eating something that's going to really, you know, fill you up and make you satisfied, or are you just eating something that's going to put you off to the next thing? And I think for our kids, we really need to think about that. So that concludes that part. So why we've done this, and I'm going to stop our share and hopefully we'll be back. So we obviously have a lot to share, and this is just a slight overview of what we have planned for the next 10 days. If you're watching this, depending where you're watching it, I hope you're excited and see that we have a lot of value to add as far as how to improve what's going on in your lunches. And I know a lot of people start really good in the week, maybe don't finish well, but so we're going to look at how to actually plan to finish strong and hopefully build up some muscle to keep that going. So if you're watching this and are a bit excited, a bit intrigued, and would love to get in on our 10-day Lunchbox Legend Challenge, I would love you to just say, yeah, heck yes, or me. So people know if you're watching that you want to get involved so that we can follow up with you and make sure that you're in the right place at the right time. Really important, so that you can get access to all these incredible resources. So what it's going to look like is this. Over the next 5 days, we are going to release one sort of goal or one sort of area a day, prompt a day, in that prompt, in the comments section, we're going to give you a whole bunch of resources to start to think about. So the first one's going to be food prepping and how to get everybody involved. So we're going to give you ideas about food prepping, things that are really great to prep for the week, things that don't take much time, all that sort of stuff. So we're going to start to put those resources into that feed. So make sure you check down. If you have some awesome meal prepping strategies, we are not the be all and end all of this. We just really want to help. So if you have some strategies, please make sure that you are adding them as well. And so this week is about building some muscle. It's about getting inspired. It's about seeing what other people are doing and kind of thinking about, okay, I can kind of do these sort of things. Then we're going to release an incredible recipe book with a shopping guide and things to get you ready. So the weekend will be like, okay, like this is my goal. We're going to have a goal on Friday. What is our goal? So that you can then enter the weekend and really start to prep. So, and I say that, it doesn't have to be crazy, but you know, you make your changes, whatever that might be. And then for the week starting Monday to next Friday, we're going to basically release those same challenges. So the prepping, you know, how to be an expert prepper, food prepper. Well, what did you do this week that you're really proud of? And we'd love to see comments. We'd love to see pictures, because what I know is that we learn better from each other and more minds about this. Like I get, every time I talk to Carrie, I get kind of a new idea, you know, and it's really awesome. And we don't get to have these conversations all the time. So we really want, this challenge is about starting conversations and really getting us lifting the weights, if you will. I'm going back to my teaching days, lifting the weights and getting those muscles working so that you can build some skills and strategies to make you successful, you know, past this challenge. So that's what it sort of looks like. Hopefully if you're excited, make sure you're commenting. I want into this challenge. We're ready to go. Set me up. And we will connect you with the right information. And then the only other thing I would say is what we do at Tribal Wellness is just this. We are about inspiring healthy change, you know, across all ages. And we have lots of other incredible resources and lots of other incredible ways to really upscale nutrition easily. So if you're watching this and you're like, I really think these two girls are crazy, but I love them, good option. But reach out to whoever shared this video with you, or, you know, reach out if you're just on the site and say, I need some help. I'd love to know more. And we will get in contact with you, because we really are on a mission to, you know, improve the health and happiness of families and people across this globe. So we're very grateful for your time tonight. Carrie, thank you for joining me.
Oh, I'm just so pleased that I could be a part of this, and it's been fun, and I love talking to you, Anna, and everybody, and I'm really looking forward to learning some new tips from everyone else as well. You know, as you said, Anna, we love to learn. We don't know everything. So, and I think, you know, just keep in mind that if you do this challenge, it's not about having to do everything. You know, if it's just one thing that you need to focus on, one tip that you need to take away, just focus on that. And whatever you do, if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Just keep trying again, and really, really celebrate your wins. Like if it's one day out of the 5 that you absolutely kick some goals, then that's a win, you know. So just keep remembering that it's about progress, not perfection.
100%. I love, because we've talked about that and totally forgot to say that, but it's true. So no, there's no judgment in this group, in wherever you are. We're just really excited to see you up leveling, however that looks for you, and really be excited about it. And we're going to be excited with you. So thank you for joining in. Have an amazing day, night, wherever you are. And we hope to see you soon. Bye.